Joining us now, Domingo Garcia. He is president of the League of United Latin American Citizens, and Ana Navarro, CNN political commentator and Republican strategist. Thanks to both of you for being on here. So really a first test in this Democratic race with a more diverse field of voters, certainly than we saw in Iowa and New Hampshire. Pew poll on Latino voters' view of Democrats is, I think, mixed is the best word you could describe. 5% excellent. I mean, you add up the good and the excellent, it's still 45%, but a lot on the other side of the ledger there. Anna, is that troubling for Democrats going into this, knowing that they need a strong turnout, I mean, certainly in the general as well, and strong support from Latino voters?
Look, I think it should be a challenge to all Democrats, and I think it's important that all the candidates understand that Latino vote is not something that should be taken for granted in any state or in any party. It needs to be earned. It needs to be a result of policy, of showing up, of being there, of speaking to the community, of taking you seriously. The one thing communities don't like is for somebody to show up 3 days before an election and try to say, you know, si se puede, unidos con Bernie, or unidos con Biden, or unidos con whatever. Really, the only one who can kind of butcher the Spanish language in this field is Pete Buttigieg. And I think it's also important that candidates understand that Latino candidates are not just Latino. They also care about women issues, and they care about the environment, and they care about economic issues. So, you know, it's not just a monolithic niche.
That's a good point.
It's such a good point, Anna. And Domingo, exactly to the point that she makes, Christian Ramos, a former spokesperson for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, just has a new interesting piece out, and the headline is Latino support for Trump is real, and that's a problem for Democrats. He's pointing to Pew polling that showed 28% Latino support for the president in the exit polls in 2016, and that's up to 30% now. And he writes exactly what Anna just said, and that is, quote, when Democrats reach out to Latino voters, they are too focused on immigration and say too little about other issues that those voters prioritize. Is he right?
I think there's a large section of the Latino population that is socially conservative, especially on issues such as abortion, prayer schools, and topics like that, and that's always been there. However, the fact that President Trump has used immigration, Latinos as political piñatas to score points with the extreme right, I think it's starting to, and using it as a wedge issue, has Latinos looking for somebody who is talking about inclusion, who is talking about the diversity of America and bringing people to the table. And there are pocketbook, kitchen table issues that every Jose and Maria is interested in. Are they going to raise that minimum wage to a living wage? A lot of them, Jose and Maria, are picking the food that we're eating on our tables today. They're cleaning the hotel rooms that people are staying at the Nevada caucuses and at those casinos there in Las Vegas. And they're building America with their hands, constructing bridges and highways and tall buildings. And they want to see, is somebody giving them a living wage? Latinos have the largest number of uninsured demographic in terms of healthcare providers. Who's going to give Medicare for All or Medicare Healthcare Plus? And those are the issues that they're looking at in terms of deciding their vote.
And healthcare always at the top of the list for all Democratic voters. So Anna, what is then the non-monolithic message, right, to Latinos on immigration? Because as you watch the Trump administration's moves here, it is not just about stemming illegal immigration. You have measures being taken to stop legal immigration from other countries, including from Latin America. So what is the message that they want to hear from Democratic candidates as an alternative to Trump?
Is that for me or for him?
It's for you.
Yep.
Well, look, I think I think a lot of Latinos, whether you are illegal immigrant or whether you've been here before this, you know, or whether the border crossed you, have been impacted by the divisions in America, by a President Trump who divides us depending on where we come from, where we were born, where our parents were born, who questions Mexican-American judge's ability to do his job simply because his parents immigrated from Mexico. And so, you know, I think a lot of Latinos, what cuts across is the idea that we don't want our kids to go into school and to be told, go back to where you came from. We don't want our kids to go to school and be bullied because of the color of their skin or because of the name or because of their accent. We want to be treated as equals. We want to be given that respect. And you know, and for there to be an understanding that we are a crucial part of America and love America. But the only way to get there, Jim, the only way is if we show up to vote. So for months now, for weeks, certainly since the Iowa caucuses, we've been saying these two states are too white. They're not diverse enough. They're not representative of America. So this is the first state in Nevada where almost 30% of the population is Latino, where it is not just, you know, frothy milk demographic. And so if you want to get taken seriously, you got to show up and vote. You got to show up and make your voice heard. You got to talk about the issues that are important to you, because if not, you're just a sleeping giant, and a sleeping giant ain't no good.
Yeah, I mean, it's true for all Americans, all voters, right? I mean, you can talk all you want on social media. If you don't vote, you know, you have no voice.
Totally.
Yeah. And if I could add to that real quick, look, we know this playbook. President Trump is going to scapegoat immigrants, Latinos, and Muslims, the others, so that he can maintain his grip on the white working class vote that he got in Wisconsin and Michigan and Ohio. And it's important that we get a candidate who says, you know what, Latinos are just as American, have fought in every war that this country has had, but you cannot use those type of language. It results in somebody driving all the way from Allen, Texas to El Paso and killing 22 American citizens by and large because they're Mexican. And that rhetoric, I think, is going to drive up the Latino vote this year. For the first time in American history, Latinos will be the largest minority ethnic voting bloc here in this presidential election. So we're going to have a say-so, and I think there's going to be repercussions to that rhetoric coming from the extreme right and from the White House.
Yeah.
Domingo Garcia, Ana Navarro, always good to have you. Say hi to Cha-Cha for us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Her little dog always.